The silent genocide of European farmers. On January 23, 2024, at around 5:30 a.m., whereas French farmers were demonstrating on Blockade Point in Pamy in Ariège, a car plowed into the protesters. A family of three, a father, a mother and their 12-year-old daughter, were seriously wounded and rushed to hospital by emergency services. We soon learned of the death of the mom, Alexandra Sonac, a 36-year-old cattle farmer originally from Marseille, while the teenage girl and her dad remained in intensive care. Alas, shortly after 7 p.m., news broke that the 12-year-old child succumbed to her injuries. In the car involved in the accident were three people: the driver, a man, and his passengers, two women, of Armenian nationality. Every one of them was under OQTF, i.e. obligation to leave France, since the end of 2023. OQTFs are often given to individuals who represent threat to public order. On Friday, it was reported that the two females had been released from the CRA, Administrative Detention Center, in which they were being held. In France, CRAs are facilities meant to detain foreigners who are not recognized by the administration as having the right to reside on French territory. Theoretically, CRAs organize remigration trip for those illegal migrants to their country of origin. The news of the liberation of those Albanian women from the CRA implies that those who mowed down Alexandra and her daughter will never be expelled from France. Each year, on average, 100,000 OQTFs are delivered in France, of which 10% are actually executed, a sad record of 4% in 2019. As the number of people under OQTFs keeps on increasing in France, the number of farmers keeps on decreasing. From being 2.5 million in 1955, agricultural workers are currently about 500,000. Therefore, we can legitimately ask ourselves whether soon enough the number of OQTF will exceed the number of farmers. The revolt of the farmers in France echoes similar uprising in Europe, Netherlands, Germany, Switzerland. Across the continent, farmers are showing their anger in response to rising energy prices and the imposition of EU environmental norms. Meanwhile, free trade agreements are being put in place with countries that do not meet those same standards, subjecting European farmers to an unfair competition against those from the other side of the world who are submitted to fewer arbitrary rules. The European Union is placing enormous burdens on the backs of the indigenous farmers while, at the same time, opening the market to a competition that is not affected by fines, excise, taxes, all justified by the green agenda. The globalist elites are killing the rooted Europeans' farmers by inflicted discriminatory standards defended with the fight against global warming, while allowing goods from the other side of the world, produced without binding norms, to be imported on polluting cargo ships and to flood the European market. Whereas encouraging and favoring short supply chains would be the best way to reduce the carbon print. The dictatorship of the Europeanist elites have chosen to sacrifice Europe's food sovereignty on the altar of globalism and free trade ideology. By signing international agreements without a care for the impact on European agriculture and population. As a result, instead of living with dignity from their labor, farmers are kept on life support, surviving, thanks to European grants given only under conditions, mainly respecting the green standards. Besides, in a CRAs, illegal migrants awaiting for deportation cost €690 per day to the taxpayer. This is equal to the monthly income of 1 in 3 farmers in France who work an average of 6.5 days totaling 60 hours per week and can only afford a few days of vacation per year. This figure is also fairly more than the median pension received by a farmer's wife. People who arrived yesterday illicitly in France are getting more than farmers who have been striving to earn a living by the sweat of their brow for generations. And while the globalist elites tell us that we cannot prevent individuals from entering our territory illegally, satellites and artificial intelligence are employed to monitor and ensure that farmers comply with the standards imposed by the European Union, for example the Copernicus program. In addition, in the midst of the farmer protests, the French National Assembly ruled on January 24 to increase the advance of mandate expenses of deputies, taxis, train, plane, phone, by slightly more than €300 per month. This is a rise from €5,645 to €5,950, plus 5.4% per month, that was justified to the public by the inflation. The productive class wealth is being stolen by the parasites from above, the ruling class, to sustain their lifestyle. And given to the parasites from below, the lumpen proletariat, imported to become the army of malleable labor force at the service of the elites and ultimately replace the indigenous working class. In short, the European farmers are slowly dying from a silent genocide organized by the globalists. In France, in reason of their desperation, on average, 2 farmers commit suicide every day. Like, comment and subscribe for more videos.